Did it really?
Yeah,
Right.
they're
Welcome.
retired,
It's
yeah. Well, it was down the street.
12/15/2021, and this is our special work session meeting. I will remind you that it is being recorded electronically. You will be given the opportunity to speak, but try to keep it to 3 minutes. I'm not going to stop you, but keep in mind that I would prefer if you kept it to 3 minutes. Okay? So on the agenda, first is a discussion and decision to pay off the 4 current water loans that we do have. Who would like to lead this one off? Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and start off and introduce Vicki Friedemann. I believe she's signed in and hopefully can hear everything here. Vicki Friedemann is, yeah. Is she here?
Yes.
She's okay, great, thanks.
Hi, Vicki. Thank you for signing on.
Welcome, Vicki. I'm just doing a little brief introduction, and then if you want to add anything, feel free. Vicki's joining us tonight virtually. I thought it would be beneficial to have her attend tonight's meeting. She is with CERCAP, which stands for the Southeast Rural Community Assistance Project. They provide free technical assistance to town managers, mayors, community leaders, and staff to determine needs, secure funding, and support for structural and economic development. They focus on smaller communities with a population range of 1,500 to 3,500 population, and they assist town leaders and elected officials with planning for their community's long-term water, wastewater, and housing success. CERCAP staff are all very knowledgeable, and as I mentioned, they provide free technical assistance to small communities. They are funded by Maryland Department of the Environment and USDA. They perform such things as water and sewer rate studies. They provide board training and information to elected officials. They work closely with Maryland senators and delegates and have close working relationships with MDE, USDA, many engineers, contractors, very good resource. So welcome tonight, Vicki, and if you want to add anything, please feel free.
No, you did a great introduction. Thank you very much, Gary.
You're welcome. So you want me to keep going here, Mayor?
Please.
Okay, so again, we have two items on the agenda for the special work session. They're very closely tied together. I'm going to start off with the paying off of the 4 current water loans. So this has been an ongoing discussion over the last several months. On November 16th, I sent an email to the mayor and council requesting specific information that you wanted Donna and I to prepare for tonight's meeting. I heard back from Councilman Huffman, Councilwoman Schultz, and Mayor Green. On Friday, December 3rd, I sent another email with the draft agenda for tonight, the requested items from the November 16th email, and asked for any additional requests for information and changes to the agenda by Tuesday, December 7th. So didn't hear anything else, so I'm going to go with, further in my report here, those specific questions. I want to start off by clarifying some information before we get started. The college, one of the 4 water line loans, the College and Blue Ridge water line loan, is not incorporated into our base rates. That loan was taken after the current water and sewer rate schedule was adopted, okay? So the other 3 are currently in our base rates. So I wanted to clear that up right off the bat. The enterprise side money, and specifically, I'll get into detail here, our developer fees subcategory or sub money area is what we would use to pay off the existing water loans should a decision be made to do so. The request for information that I received to paying off the 4 existing water loans and some responses are as follows. So basically just numbered these and went down, listed them, and provided information that I could. So the first question was, if we keep the existing water loans, will our debt ratio hamper our ability to get the MDE loans for the amount we need? And the response was that, from myself, Donna and I are not lenders or loan officers, so we don't know the details of that specifically. We would venture to say that the town's debt ratio may be factored into the equation and decision by MDE, but maybe Vicki could provide some additional feedback in her experience working with these loans. Vicki?
yourself, Ms. Vicky.
Hopefully she's hearing that. There she is.
There we go. I
There
think
you
I'm
go.
unmuted now.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Technology's not my friend tonight. I would just say that the debt ratio isn't necessarily a determination factor for MDE SRF, but your finances will determine grant versus loan. So that they're going to look at where this project sits in priority and how much they're going to be able to give the town, what percentage of grant out of that loan and principal forgiveness they would be able to award the town.
Okay.
And you said this is due to priority? Is that to the
Yeah, there's-
our municipality or in their consideration, the MDE?
Yeah, so they've got, SRF has a pool of money and the applications are due January 31st of every year. And then they take like 3 or 4 months to like rate those applications based on priorities. If there's any type of project that is currently in towns that are currently in consent order, and so they go through and kind of rate it, and they rate your application, and the higher scoring applications kind of get the top priority, and then they look at financials, how the towns sit financially and your median household income on where you're going to get principal forgiveness and grant funding. So they only have like a set amount of money that they can loan out every year, and then a set amount of grant funding. And those, so they determine how much loan they can give out, and then they look at how much grant money they have that they can give out. So it is competitive for MDE SRF money.
So Vicky?
You need to unmute too?
No, you don't.
Okay. Are we using these? Okay. Vicky, question for you then. The grant versus loan determinations are based upon the household median income, then not based upon debt ratio. Is that what I was led to believe?
Vicky, would you like to answer that question?
All right, can you guys hear me better now?
There's 2 of them now. Oh, there she is. Go ahead.
So the last thing was the debt. Barry, did you guys hear me when I said that? The debt income really doesn't, the debt service income doesn't matter. Your debt service doesn't matter when they determine if you're going to be able to get a loan grant.
Councilman Hoffman had a question about the household median income. Is that how the final number is determined?
Yeah, so based on the rated, on your application, how it's rated, then they will look at what your MHI is to determine if you've got, if you're a priority as far as, not priority, but a disadvantaged community. So your disadvantaged communities are gonna get more grant and principal forgiveness than if you're MHI is higher than the state's MHI.
Any other questions for Ms. Brady on that? Jerry, would you like to continue?
Okay, I will continue. Thanks, Vicki.
Thank you, Vicki.
The second question, if we don't pay off the loans and take a larger loan, how much will we need to raise the base rate? We had numbers between $11 and $18 per quarter, realizing the existing loans have 5 to 8 years remaining. So the response to that is the effect on the quarterly base rate is dependent on how much of a loan we take, the interest rate, and the term of the loan. So that's what we've been trying to get to. I have some numbers, an example of where we would be and a scenario later in my report here that we'll get into that a little deeper. So, again, that's why we have to finalize the breakdown of the ARPA money, the developer fees, and on the enterprise side money, and then the loan amount that we're going to take, okay? But again, using that spreadsheet from the TSU PALS program, I ran a calculation on $1 million at 1.25% for a 30-year term. That equates to an increase of $13.30 on your quarterly base rate, and then an annual payment, which that spreadsheet calculates as well, of $40,180 annually. Okay, that's just the per thousand at 1.25% 30-year term. Per million. Okay? $13.30 on the base rate. So question 3 was, which leads into part of 2 there, is what is the interest rate of the MDE loan? And again, Vicki provided links to the current interest rates through the end of this calendar year, 12/31. So for the Maryland MDE Water Quality SRF Fund, which she was referring to earlier, the standard rate totals out currently through the end of this year at 1.15%. I used a little bit higher, 1.25. We don't know what it's going to be, but I like to err on the side of being a little bit conservative. The USDA intermediate rate is 1.75. So that's a little bit higher. So hence why in the answer to 2 and later in the report, I'm using 1.25 as a conservative interest rate.
Any questions on that so far?
Good. All right, question 4. What is the overall cost to the town for the 2 scenarios? Scenario 1 is to keep our current loans, a smaller new loan plus a base rate increase to cover the new loan. And the second scenario is to pay off our current loans, a new larger loan, and confirm no base rate increase. So this is difficult again to answer for sure, which bear with me, I'm going to get into some scenarios here until we make a decision, some decisions are made. So the first scenario of keeping the existing loans, I'm going to refer now to the document that the updated loan sheet that Donna prepared. Okay, so if we keep our existing loans, the total cost paid at the end of the terms is a total of $802,096. Okay, again, the cost of a smaller loan, depending on what that is, basically it's $13.30 per million. Let's just go with that number, and then the base rate increase is that $13.30. The second scenario of paying off the existing loans, it would cost us, again, referring to Donna's sheet here, would be $690,802. Okay, so later in my report, I have 2 different scenarios that goes into a little bit more depth on that. The 5th question was if and when the town does receive outside funding for said projects, the people that the mayor have met with requested matching funds. If not matching funds, then a healthy portion. Where would these funds come from if this were such the case? So the matching funds for the town are going to be our ARPA money, and then whatever amount the council decides to put towards the project from our enterprise fund, our developer fees. So those are our matching funds, and again, you'll see some numbers later as to what they can possibly be. Let me see here. Okay, so as I mentioned before, there was an updated water loan payoff summary that Donna provided in the work session folder under tonight's date, a special meeting. The 4 current water loans have a total payoff balance of $690,802 if paid off on February 1st of 2022. The 3 loans that are incorporated into the base rate, paying them off equate to approximately $26 on our base rate. Okay? So essentially this could free up $26 of base rate and help offset new debt associated with a new loan. So if the town paid off all the existing water loans, we could borrow money for the Maryland 31 water line project and possibly not change the water base rate depending on the loan amount, interest rate, and term. So I'll explain that in scenario 1. So that's kind of some background and answer to some specific questions that were provided. Does anybody have any questions I want to elaborate on any of that before I move in? Because I'm going to go right into the water line because they're tied. These things are tied together. Anybody have any questions on that at this point? Okay. So now the funding of the Maryland 31 water main improvement project. Okay, again, we've been discussing this for several months now. The project is estimated at $4 million, okay? We have ARPA money, we have enterprise side money on the developer fees, and some form of a loan is going to be needed, okay? We need to maintain a healthy and safe reserve in our enterprise fund, and unless the town gets outside funding from state, again, some amount of loan is going to likely be needed. So we need, again, to drill down the specifics and get to the amounts from each source and make a decision. You know, using a combination of these 3 sources is a good and viable option that we've been discussing for a while now. So Donna and I met on Monday and we went over the numbers again, had a very good discussion. We believe a good achievable goal is to not increase the water base rate and still accomplish funding the Maryland 31 water line. So following our 2 scenarios that I put together, the first of which will accomplish not increasing the water base rate. So these are a lot of numbers, so I apologize, just bear with me. So scenario 1 is to pay off the 4 loans, the 4 existing water loans. So we'll use enterprise fund developer fee money of $690,802 to pay off those 4 existing loans and free up $26 of base rate on the water base rate. So the Maryland 31 water line estimate is $4 million. Second tranche of the ARPA money is $688,696. Use enterprise fund developer fee money of $1,351,304. That would leave a new loan to take out of $1,960,000. So those 3 numbers total that $4 million needed to pay for that water line. Okay, so again, running through this calculator, $1,960,000 loan at 1.25% interest, 30-year term, equates to $26 on the water base rate. So if you're playing along with the numbers, I backed that number in. When I knew what the advantage of paying those 3 loans associated to the base rate equated to, I worked it backwards and plugged in and came up with an amount and then made the numbers work to match $4 million. Follow? Okay. So the enterprise fund is broken down into 3 sub-funds, okay, which I just call sub-funds. The current balances as of December 13th are as follows. So our developer fees, which is our big part of that, is $2,656,426. Our 3 R's capital reserves is $356,404, and our operating is $335,702. So those 3 sub-funds make up our current enterprise fund, okay? We do not want to use the 3 R's capital money, capital reserves money, or our operating money. We want to use that developer fees money, okay, which is the bigger pot of that, okay? So under that scenario 1 that I just described, working off the developer fees balance, okay, of $2,656,426, we're going to put developer fee money towards the water line of 1,351,304, and developer fee money to pay off the loans of 690,802. So that would leave a balance in the developer fees of 614,320. Now keep in mind, we still have the 3R capitals left that we're not touching and are operating, which equates to a total of a little over 692,000. So we still have a $1.3 million balance. We were talking about 1.5 earlier. So it's just kind of broken down separately out of those different funds a little bit.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
So, again, the total developer fee money used under scenario 1 is $2,042,106. Okay? So the remainder of fiscal year 22 water and sewer usage and hookup fees, in addition to future fiscal years, will replenish the developer fees in time. Okay? So Donna and I believe this is a good, safe balance, knowing that the fund will get replenished throughout the rest of this fiscal year and next fiscal year and future fiscal years. Okay? Any questions on scenario 1? All right. Scenario 2, do not pay off the 4 existing water loans. Okay? So basically you're running the same numbers. The only differences are tweaks within like $1,000 to make the numbers balance out. In the wash, it's all basically the same. So your water line project, again, is $4 million. Your same thing you're using the second tranche of ARPA money, same amount, $688,696. Use developer fees of $691,000, the amount that we would have applied under scenario 1 to pay off the loans. It's the same money it was going to go to pay off loans in scenario 1. In scenario 2, it's going to go towards the project.
This loan,
Huh?
towards this loan, is that what you mean?
No, it's going towards the water line to pay for the water line.
The new water line.
The new water line,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes. So then use additional enterprise developer money of $1,350,304. Then that scenario would require us to take a loan of $1,270,000. So again, those 4 numbers total the $4 million needed to pay for the water line. So again, same calculation, different loan amount, $1,270,000 loan at 1.25% for 30 years equates to $16.90. That would be an increase to the base rate because you haven't paid off those existing water loans.
Well, so we're still paying on those water lines too, so that's another bill we're still paying at the same time, right? The existing loans.
If we don't pay them off,
Right,
yes.
okay.
Under this second scenario,
Plus-
we don't pay them off. We take a smaller loan because we can use more developer fee money towards the water line, but you still have to take a $1.27 million loan, which equates to $16.90
Per
And
quarter.
then our base
per
rate goes
quarter.
up.
Your base rate under scenario 2 would increase by $16.90 per quarter
Right, okay.
for the first 5 to 8 years,
till those other loans were paid off.
and then it would go down $26.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind is the rates don't go down unless you redo
Yeah.
your rate structure, which we're scheduled to do at the end of fiscal year 23.
And if we don't have any other projects.
Right, it'll get everything, at that time, when you redo your rate structure, you look at all your current debt, what's been paid off, what you have, the number of users, and then it factors into the calculation. It's not, we don't constantly adjust that base rate through the adopted rate structure.
And just remember, once you've taken that loan for that 30-year period, just because the other loans get paid off, it doesn't adjust the payment on that 30-year loan.
Sure.
So your balance on your developer fees under the second scenario, it's very similar. You have the $2,656,426 of your developer fee balance. You're using $1,350,304 towards the water line project. You're using $691,000 towards the water line project, and then that leaves a balance of $651 122 for a total of $2,041,304 of developer fee money used. So the difference in the two scenarios is about $880. It's just a matter of using even numbers on one of the scenarios. And again, that was backing in the loan amounts. So that's really all that I have. I know that's a lot of information. I don't mean to say it's all I have, but so I laid it out pretty well. I mean, to me, I see the advantage of paying off those loans and keeping that base rate the same. That's my personal opinion.
Great.
But
I
it's
think
your
you did a really
decision.
good job, and I appreciate the hard work that you guys put into it. I mean, it's laid out right here, plain as day. Does anyone have any questions on either scenario? Let's start with just scenario one first. Is there any questions or concerns with that one?
So, I mean, I guess I'll say a comment. I guess the benefit to that would be that it wouldn't increase. Now, in prior meetings, I did mention that it would go up, but then it would go down. The unfortunate thing, though, is that it would have to go up at first, and that I don't think increasing the base rates at this time would be viable. Now, I would also say that if we do take this loan, there's still options out there for loan forgiveness, and I would definitely pursue that, because ideally I would like to see, if we did take out this loan by not increasing, we still have millions of projects in the future. So if we could get some of the loan forgiveness, maybe by keeping this at the same base level for right now, it'll give us some time to work on those extra grants and forgiveness, and that way it could reduce it more so that we can take on the other projects.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Councilman Hall, thank you. I appreciate you looking at it that way in that reasonable manner. Totally agree that I think it's not in our best interest to raise the base rate at this time. And we should be continuing to look for alternative methods to pay for the loans that we have, this new loan that we will most likely be taking, and funding for the additional projects that we have that are right around the corner. My biggest fear about not paying off the loans and taking out a smaller loan and raising the base rate is the fact that we have so many additional projects. I fear that we'll never be able to lower that rate by continuing to do these projects, which needs to be done. So I think that we have the opportunity to get these projects rolling, to kick them off, to get them going without raising the rates. I really feel that that's the way that we should go.
I'm in total agreement.
Kevin?
Total agreement with that last statement.
Now let's move on to scenario number two. Since it's out there, the information is right in front of you, plain as day. Let's have a conversation about it and see where everyone stands about it. Okay, good.
Well, the only thing, I mean, I agree with everything Councilman Hull and Councilman Hoffman said. And we know, Mayor, that you're working on getting some funds, and we know that there's money out there and that there's going to be money out there because of the infrastructure bill. So I think that's a sort of a bright horizon to look towards. And I can't see any plus at all in going with scenario two for the town or for the residents or, you know, for the staff. And the thing that I want to say, and you already said it, Mayor, but I really appreciate the amount of work that you, Town Manager Di, and you, Clerk Treasurer, all been put into this, because I know this has been a lot of work. And if you hadn't thought of this, it would be a totally different scenario for everything. So it's really, it's great for us. I mean, the folks that are in the room, and I don't know how people can see online, but, you know, you can all probably see how much work they put into this. And it's really just good thinking.
It's all in a day's work, right?
Just a day, right?
Just a day or two or five.
So I know that I said I would leave a public comment, but for the people that are here, before a decision is made, I will give you the opportunity to say what you will now. I mean, it would be beneficial.
in your description of scenario.
Could I have your name and address, sir?
Oh.
Yeah, we gotta do that.
So we gotta have name, address.
Richard Carlson, 2808 Union Square Road, up the hill.
Okay, thank you. Continue.
In scenario one, you said that it would, did I hear correctly, that it would free up $26 on the base rate?
The paying off of the three existing loans that are calculated into our current base rate, by paying them off, that equates currently to $26 of our current base rate.
Yeah, I know it says 4 existing loans. He
But
said 3 because the one was
The
never
one
added.
loan's not calculated in there. We still gonna pay that off. That's, that total, that 690,000 total is all 4 loans.
Right.
The one water line at College and Blue Ridge is not in the base rate right now, okay? But yes, those 3 loans, when you look at the current adopted rate structure that we have, they equate in the base rate to $26.
Okay. Does that mean that you're going to reduce?
No.
You're just going to leave?
We're gonna leave it as is, and then when the new loan comes on, there's no need to increase it, because the loan amounts offset, and the increase to the base rate, it offsets what we've reduced by paying off the loans.
Anyone else?
It probably won't be that long before we'd
Terry
have that
Fairwood.
loan.
I'm at 310 College Avenue. I'm a newbie here. I moved in
Welcome.
March. Thank you. And thank you guys for everything you do. I know it's not easy and it's hard work and nobody appreciates it, so, you know. And I'm a layman, but I have my, like, expert sitting here. She's got the large thing. But it sounds like, to me, it sounds like the first scenario is
Scenario one.
is a good way to go.
What do you like about it?
I like the fact that we pay off those loans. I like the fact that the $26 gets put back into the new loan. To me, it just makes more fiscal sense.
Is there something that really turned you off about scenario number 2?
Well, the base rate went up. Personally, I don't have a problem with the water bill. I've lived in places where the water bill has been worse than, I live in Santa Barbara, California. So I know water bills can be a lot higher. But there's a lot of people here that are hurting in this town, and that would really, I think we'd end up losing residents if you raise the rate.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll open it up to the Zoom people real quick. Do you guys have an issue with that? See what they have to say?
Go ahead.
Okay. Does anyone in Zoom wish to speak? Put your hand up. Oh, we got a chat. We're good. See what we got here. She's good. Okay. All right, let's continue. So, it seems like everyone would be in agreement here on the council with scenario number 1.
Yeah.
So,
I did have one question though. The fourth loan that's not currently in our base rate, how is that currently being paid for?
Out of the operating fund.
Out of the operating fund, okay. I just didn't know if that would factor into the $26, if that would help any more or not.
Even if you don't pay off the other 3, my recommendation would be to pay that one off, because that is the highest interest rate
Yeah.
that we have.
It's at 4.99.
499, yeah.
And that's a shorter term loan as well, right, Donna?
Yes, well, it's one of those balloon loans, so yes, it would.
On the, I do have a question, and I can ask the group. If we do pay the loans off by February, there are some values here. If we pay the 4th loan off by the February 2022, we save 38. Is that an 38,823? Do we pay? Is that an annual savings in your breakdown?
I think it was the whole life of the loans, wasn't it? Because it ended up being well over 100 and some thousand. That was
That 38,000 is just for College Blue Ridge.
But is that, you would save, that amount that you save is annually?
Well, that, you'd say that.
Or-
over
over the life,
Over the
okay.
life.
Life.
It's a life.
Okay.
That's what these all are, right?
That's what they all are.
So
That's
I
correct.
did some combining and adding on those up there. So if you look at the difference of keeping the 4 loans, not paying them off, what we would pay total throughout the time versus what we would paying them off now with, at an earlier time, the total collective savings is $111,294.
Right.
And basically in Donna's sheet, if you take in the in the bold letters, the first three, that savings is $72,471. I'm just gonna round up. And then the water line loan itself is another $38,824. And you add those two together, you get $111,294 total.
Those are like all the loans.
That's the savings of paying them off in February
Yeah.
versus continuing to pay them for the life of their loans. Life of the loans.
The longest loan was set to expire when?
9 years.
2031, yep. It's the chlorine tank. All the dates are on that, on Donna's sheet.
Anyone else with that? Okay. So we can move forward now?
Do we need to make a motion?
Yeah, I was going to make a motion to
Scenario
accept the scenario one.
I'll second that
Can you
motion.
state what the motion is, please?
Do you want me to run through the whole?
No.
You have, okay.
So my motion would be to accept scenario one, which is to pay off the 4 existing loans for the new storage tank, Dennings Well, chlorine tank, and College Blue Ridge Avenues loans.
And that amount to be,
You need to say, using.
Just read
Now
the,
he has it.
Okay.
Sorry, but.
Sorry.
No, that's fair.
the way it
That's
is.
fair.
Here, you have it?
Yeah, I do. All right. Scenario one, payoff of the 4 existing loans would, 1A would be use enterprise fund development fee money of $690,802. 1B would be Maryland 31 water line project. Oh, I'm sorry. Use second tranche of ARPA money of $688,696. We would also use enterprise fund development fee money of $1,351,304. And then we would take out a loan of $1,960,000 to pay.
So the ARPA money can't be used to pay it off. It's just stating that we're gonna use that money for
For the new
the
loan.
water.
for the water
For the
line.
water main. So
For the-
Okay.
stating,
The new
you know,
line.
those numbers, it's just
So
for
do
the
we,
water main.
do we want to,
And
can I interject here?
Yeah.
Can we have 2 motions? I think we should
Shouldn't
make
it
2
just be the
motions.
motion
The
for?
first motion is to approve scenario 1 to use developer fee monies in the sum of $690,802 to pay off the 4 existing water line loans.
Right.
Okay.
That should be,
That's the end of that motion.
that should be the end of that,
and
that's
Sharon
one
already
motion.
seconded it.
I'm sorry.
And Sharon seconded it.
Are you clear on
I'll
the,
second
on
Do we need
the,
it to be resaid?
For the recorded record, can we please have Mr. Cornick's, Councilman Cornick's motion restated?
Sure.
And then a second, just for the paying off
Of
of
the
the
water
loans
lines.
and what money we are using.
Okay, thank you. So my motion is to adopt scenario 1 to pay off the 4 existing water loans using enterprise development fee money of $690,802.
And I would like to second that motion.
all right, let's
Thank you.
give us a second to jot this down, and then we'll go on to the next one.
And we need to vote on that one.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2, 3, 4, 5, 0, ayes have it.
Thank you. And then the second then would be the specifics of how to pay for the Maryland 31 water line.
And that will be the second tranche of the ARPA money, correct? That's gonna be 688, 696, right?
Right? But
And
somebody
then-
needs to make the motion.
Right, well, I just wanna make sure. it's
Okay,
clear
okay,
before we get there. And the town will be adding a $1.99 million loan, there or take?
$1,960,000.
Right.
So My question is, will we need a motion for that because we don't know the specifics of the loan yet? Because when we have to like apply for the loan
Loan
and
market
then,
might be different if things come back,
and then accept
be
it.
a little different, you know.
That's
I mean, I
true.
know it won't be finalized because
Right.
we have to apply for it.
So that,
Would this be for, to
Right.
start pursuing that loan maybe?
Instead of a motion, it could be a consensus.
Okay,
To start the process of that
Correct.
loan?
So we still want to take a vote?
no, we just all say that
We
we,
can't take a vote
just
on a
all say,
consensus.
we're just having a consensus that we agreed with that process.
To start the
Does
process of the
everybody agree
loan?
with the, have a consensus to start that process?
Yes.
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 Gary, you got all that?
All right, good.
Okay, okay.
I just have one question about the loan that we're gonna be applying for the Maryland 31 project. I believe I heard Vicky say that when we apply for that, then our loan gets rated, and then depending on the need, maybe that some of our loan would be forgiven, or maybe we'd get, like special consideration for funding because our need is higher. Is this the loan we're talking about, right?
That's the loan she alluded to at the
That's one of
beginning
the
of the meeting,
options.
yes.
Okay.
Among many things that go into that application are, what she referred to as median household income, the MHI number.
Okay. And is this the loan that Mike would he be applying for this?
He has started that process,
Okay.
but I'm very glad and thankful and appreciative that we come to a number now that I can give Mike the green light to go ahead and pursue that application, because as Vicky alluded to earlier, January 31st, it's
Right.
Vicky,
due.
do you have something you would like to add?
No, I just offer my assistance to Gary and to Mike, to help out with that application.
Gary, is he pursuing other options as well? I
We,
know we've talked about a lot of different possible.
the priority right now is the MDE application because of the deadline.
because
The
of the
USDA is, correct me if I'm wrong, Vicky, USDA is open more continuously throughout the year, I believe. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's open throughout the year. They usually close, do their annuals around August, at the end of July. So once MDESRF decisions come around end of May, early June. So I do suggest that after the application gets done to MDE and SRF, that a discussion is had with the USDA office to put them on notice that, about this project. As Gary knows, USDA would require a preliminary engineering report in order to apply for funding with specific to USDA. And so you can't even apply to a USDA loan, for the USDA loan, without that preliminary engineering report.
Thank you, Vicky. Is there any other funding sources that you have experience with or would recommend that we pursue in addition to the MDE loan at this time?
I recall in the conversation that we had, Gary, that MDE 31 is mainly businesses. It's not a high residential area.
No, it's, there's a few businesses, but still mostly residential.
Yeah, it's more residential, actually.
So if the MHI, depending upon that area's MHI, and we can focus directly on who would be serviced by the water line on MD 31, we could potentially go after CDBG money, Community Development Block Grant funding. They do, I think the max that they give out is around $800,000.
Okay.
But that's also assuming that, that would be, I guess, below the MHI.
Yes, it would have to be 51% below MHI, so.
51%?
Yes, it would have to be,
What's the,
Okay,
and
Our me-
an income survey would be required to prove that.
okay.
Vicki, this is Clerk Treasurer Donna Alban. I've had experience with both a grant that we received and also with the loan. So I understand what you're trying to say about the determination of the income. Is that, the survey that we have to complete for that, is that something that is submitted with the application? Or is that something we would do after we are approved?
It would have to be completed before application is submitted.
Okay, that's what I thought. So Gary and I can work with you on that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sir Captain is just with talking to Cindy Stone at CDBG, developing the survey, doing a first mail out, and then assisting with door to door if needed.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Vicky.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Vicki.
Welcome.
So so you know, I was curious when we were talking about median household income. If you Google it on Ben Cardin's website, New Windsor's median household income is a little over 90,000.
So we do know, where would that fall within that 51 percentile?
It would not be.
40.
It would not.
It would.
We wouldn't qualify.
It would be a low.
We're-
It would be a low.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, because I remember this,
From College
that,
Blue.
this is not a poor community. I mean, there are certainly people here.
When was the last time that was done? Did it come
It was
across?
just a
the-
few years
the
ago.
census? They determined this by
2013
the
when
census?
we
2000,
did
no, it's not from the
College Blue
census.
Ridge.
Yeah, it's when we did
had
college.
to do the same
We had to
thing.
do the same thing.
So it's
and-
been how long?
2013, but that is just for that area.
That was just those
That's just
residents
that
on
area.
College and Blue Ridge.
But you gotta factor in the 31 is
It goes-
the nice,
it goes by
homes.
the residences along your project.
Yeah,
Just what Vicki specifically said is who will benefit, what residents will directly benefit from the water line and
But it's a
improvement.
state highway. I mean, it's
Yeah,
under there.
but it's not, the water line
water's
is
ours.
servicing Kim's house and Dave's house and everybody who lives along that road and Maddie's and the back and Donna and, yeah, I mean, everybody here tonight, I think.
If anyone else have any other questions, I'll open it up to you guys since it's the end and it's on the agenda that I would let you speak at the end, so now's the time.
Yeah, now I'm gonna know.
Mr. Carlson, go ahead.
You mentioned that you've now developed a consensus to go ahead
And pursue a loan for,
pursue the loan.
right.
Should that not be specified in the minutes, what you're pursuing?
I believe they did.
Gary,
Because all you're saying is,
I believe they did.
Gary specified that in his notes.
that's in the minutes?
Yes.
It will be.
Here comes Santa Claus.
It will be. We can't specifically say the amount that's on Gary's summary because we don't know exactly how much we're going to need.
No, I
Yeah.
understand.
But it's
a course of
it is
action.
the MDE Water Quality State Revolving Fund loan specifically.
Yeah.
Has there been any interrogation of the, state government about the money that was 88 mil that was allocated to the state for the purpose of water?
The infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yes, we will definitely look at that. I'm not sure that we've had Mike look into that yet. Have we, town manager Dunn?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the
Santa
question.
Claus is going by.
Give it a second, Mr. Carlson, wait a
If
second.
we could just stick to the stuff that's on the agenda, I mean, that's, if you would like to come, in another 5 days on the, the 20th
20th.
to discuss that, it will be on the agenda, we can discuss that then.
Well, it's kind of related to funding.
Right, but this is strictly the items that's on our agenda this evening. Thank you. Ladies? Anybody out on Zoom wish to speak?
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
The only thing I needed to add was just our next council work session is Monday, December 20th. Sent out the draft agenda on the 14th, so please have any additions to me by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, please. And then the next council meeting is Wednesday, January 5th.
Alrighty.
And Mayor Green, I'd like to just remind those of you that signed up for the local Carroll County chapter MML, that's tomorrow evening.
The dinner?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, well, it's a meeting slash dinner.
Yeah. We move to adjourn.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, guys. Thanks for attending. Bye now.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I think we're getting quicker.
Welcome to town. Which
A lot
house
of
is-
numbers.
Which house did you say? Which one is
310.
that?
I wanted to,
She had her basement flood.
Oh, yeah, I know which one that is.
310 College, right?